Hey, little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes. It's been a while since I've had an interview to share with y'all, but this one is worth it. Happy New Year, y'all, because we got an interview with our favorite up-and-coming actor in the game, Kelvin Harrison Jr. I was able to speak with him about his experience working on the musical Cyrano, which features another dope performance by Kelvin Harrison Jr., as well as a heartbreakingly performance by Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones. Cyrano was one of the few musicals that actually worked for me last year, so hopefully you all get a chance to check it out. And it was an honor to be able to speak with Kelvin again about his process as an actor and how he continues to grow. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page so you get alerted about future interviews. And special thanks as always to Africa for the opportunity. Now here's my interview with Kelvin Harrison Jr.
Hi, Kelvin, brand accounts and Media and Popcorn Podcast. Great work as always.
Thank you.
My question for you is, what was your process as an actor getting prepared for the role of Christian, and how did that evolve once you got on set?
It started with a lot of. I think I just started with breaking down the script. I went through every scene and I just started mapping out the moments. When was the moment when Christian developed a friendship with Cyrano? When was the moment he found out that he was in love with Roxanne? When was the moment he found out that he might think that Cyrano was in love with Roxanne as well? What does that conflict take us on? So there was a lot of that. I watched a film called Being There with Peter Sellers, and that was a big reference for me as well. And I thought there's something beautiful about this the holy fool of kind of walking to every situation. And it's more so about everyone's perception of Chauncey than it is how Chauncey views himself. And I thought that was also Christian. Everyone perceives Christian as this handsome guy who may be this really well-written fella, but that's just not the case. He's just a sincere, sweet dude who just comes in and is unable to articulate himself in the way that these particular people articulate themselves. It's not so much that where he came from was the wrong way, him approaching it with action, but it's just that that's not how Roxanne wants it. And so a lot of it was just being really just deliberate in taking away a lot of subtext in a lot of moments, instead of trying to come in with a million different thoughts, just keeping him a simple man, which was a big Being There thing as well. So yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hey, Kelvin, it's Brandon Collins again. You mentioned waves earlier, and between your performance in this film, and I also recently rewatched Loose, I'm in awe of your ability to be both vulnerable and incredibly intense. How do you find that balance as an actor, and how does that impact you when you're not on set and in character?
Appreciate that. How do I balance the two, you say? How do I?
Yep.
Um, I think it's just, I guess the biggest thing I've been learning as an actor is just tone, and working with directors is really understanding and getting, some days it's like pulling it out of them to get a sense of tone. Because as you know, with a lot of directors, they're still working it out in real time as well as to what their vision is and how they want to shoot the movie. Julius, for Luce in particular, he had the whole movie mapped out before we got there, which was that's such a gift to me, and that's why I love working with Julius. Is he's just so specific and detailed, and in terms of he comes from a theater background, so much like Erica as well, Erica Schmidt, our writer, and so they really understand mood and what is required of an actor in any given scene and the shifts that kind of take place. Joe is very different in that way. It's more about the details and visually and aesthetically, instead of what's happening here. um, but for me, it's just I don't know, man. I just do the job. I just whatever the scene calls for, I just commit. I recently watched Tick Tick Boom with Andrew Garfield, and I was like, oh, he's so fantastic. And I just kept, I was talking to my girlfriend, and we're like, oh, why is he so great? Yes, he's a fantastic actor, but I think what I love about Andrew is that he just really commits. He commits to every scene. He commits to the over the top personality of the character that he's playing or whatever it is. It's just his commitment, even when the choice may be wrong. If you commit, I don't think anyone would know. I think that's the biggest thing. So, yeah. And in terms of how it affects my personal life, who's to say?
Well, thank you. And great job as always. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.
Medium popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me. And Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault.